Good morning, everybody. Last week, Pope Francis said that the most important thing was not to be a member of the right religion, but to do good, and that anyone can get to heaven if they do good, even atheists. In your face! The following calls are taken from editions of Mail Call, printed in the Herald Mail from May 13th to May 24th, 2013, and can be read online in their entirety at www.herald-mail.com. First up from Boonesboro. How does one go about arranging a green burial in this county? My husband and I would like that option when we die. Cremation is against our religion, and we are opposed to embalming metal caskets and concrete vaults for environmental reasons. All we want when we die is a simple wood coffin and burial in the earth, so our bodies can return to Mother Nature properly. None of this eternal preservation business. Anyone have any information on the subject? Got a yard? Got a shovel? I think you can figure out the rest. Now that Maryland has passed the law that's done away with the death penalty, a prisoner who is in prison for life and no hope for parole can kill somebody, such as a guard, and there's no further penalty for him because he's in jail for the rest of his life anyway. How many people could he go on and kill and have no further penalty? We need a death penalty. Washington County. I award you points for creativity, if nothing else. I've heard people defend the death penalty as a deterrent. I've heard people bitch about how expensive it is to house prisoners for life sentences. I've never heard, what are we going to do about the lifers who murder guards before, so kudos for that. I just don't find that persuasive, however. For me and for a lot of other people who oppose the death penalty, this is largely an issue of government power. I just don't think it's a very good idea for us to give ourselves, through the justice system, ideally an organ of the people, the power to execute people. We're talking about people who have been arrested, tried, and convicted, and now they're incarcerated. They serve their time isolated from the rest of us. They pose no danger to society at large. What purpose is served by executing them? What purpose is served by the death penalty? Killing them doesn't erase their crimes. It doesn't make society any safer because they're removed already. It certainly doesn't speak well for our common character. We're better off without it. Delegate Neil Parrot portrays himself as a conservative who believes in a smaller, less intrusive government. He has also said he is strongly pro-life and opposes abortion. Now he is petitioning the recent ban on state executions. My question is, how can someone who wants less intrusive government favor a government powerful and intrusive enough to control women's wombs and kill people? Can government get any more intrusive than that? Keedysville. It's a good question, not only because it points to a glaring contradiction in the philosophies of many conservative politicians here in the United States, but also because it gives me yet another excuse to remind you all, and particularly those of you who may be watching as fellow residents of Maryland Subdistrict 2B, that Neil Parrot, our member of the House of Delegates, has publicly called for HIV/AIDS patients to be forcibly tattooed, identifying them as HIV/AIDS patients before they can have their medicine, and that he considers this a compassionate way of dealing with HIV and AIDS patients. He said this in a letter to the editor to the Herald Mail a few years ago, and he hasn't gone out of his way to talk about it since, but he's never repudiated it, and he's never once apologized for suggesting something so repugnant as a serious solution to an actual problem. So fuck him. Appalling, the decision by Washington County Public Schools to cancel spring trips to Antietam Recreation. If there are those who would be offended by a 20-minute spiritual uplifting message, then don't go. In today's society, it appears a few words of spiritual uplifting are much needed, regardless of your belief. If the non-believers feel threatened, then stay home. Why ruin it for everyone? How sad. Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. Antietam Recreation, for those of you who don't know, is a private camp a few miles outside of Hagerstown, owned by a family of Christian fundamentalists. Public schools traditionally have taken field trips there, but this year the field trips were canceled when Antietam Rec refused to remove religious references from a presentation that all of the students who go there on field trips have to watch. Since then, the Board of Education and Antietam Rec have reached a compromise where the field trips will be allowed to resume so long as the students are offered the choice to opt out of the presentation. As for the need for a spiritually uplifting message, I wonder if the caller from Waynesboro would feel the same if we were talking about a camp owned by Muslim fundamentalists and presentations that included references to Allah and his prophet Muhammad. I see where Governor Martin O'Malley got his new gun laws passed. I guess he doesn't know what the words "shall not be infringed" means. Wonder where he is going to get the money to build the prisons to lock up the law-abiding citizens. Clear Spring. Are you using a definition of abiding I'm not familiar with? Also, if you're going to use this silly "it says shall not be infringed" argument, you should be aware that that train has left the station. Your right to bear arms has been limited by law since long before Maryland's new gun control statutes were enacted. To cite just one example, take the National Firearms Act, a federal law which strictly regulates the possession and transfer and manufacture of machine guns, short-barreled shotguns, and explosive ordnance, mandating that owners of such weapons submit to background checks and register with the ATF. That law was originally enacted in 1934. How has our republic survived? I would like to thank the Herald Mail for publishing the picture of the people having prayer after the terrible accident on Downsville Pike. God bless the driver, the family, and the trooper. This is what God loves to see, joining together in time of need. Hagerstown. And there's something else that God apparently loves to see. Terrible accidents. Why is it that when they do have something downtown, it always seems like it's for the upper class people? I mean, the May market they had. It had to be all brand new things. If they really wanted to attract a lot of people downtown, they should have had people have yard sales join in down there. People with used stuff. Hagerstown. That's the key to revitalizing downtown Hagerstown, yard sales. Never mind making it a cleaner, safer, more inviting place to live and visit. Fuck attracting businesses or courting people with money to spend. What Hagerstown really needs are more people out in the streets selling their old shit. I think that's how New York City turned Times Square around, actually, if I'm not wrong. Can somebody please explain to me why it's so hard to get painkiller prescriptions filled in Hagerstown? Every pharmacy I go to, they keep telling me they don't have it in stock. Don't know when they're going to get it in stock. I mean, I'm trying to figure out how a pharmacy can be a pharmacy if they can't even fill a prescription that you have that's legit. Hagerstown. Get some help, Teardrop. I can hear your teeth grinding through the page. Maybe it's not the pharmacies, maybe it's you, and maybe you would have some more success if you altered your approach a bit. Here's what you need to do. First, find another pharmacy, one where they don't know you, preferably one that hasn't recently been the target of drug-related burglary. Just walk up to the window, hand over the prescription. When the pharmacist asks if you want to wait for it, say, "No, you'll be back in an hour." Then leave, come back to pick it up in an hour and a half. Because you can wait. Sure, you're in some pain, but you can take it. I mean, it's not like you need the stuff, right? Just play it cool. Pick up your prescription, take it to the checkout. If you're feeling up to it, make some small talk with the cashier as he or she rings you up. Just keep the small talk simple and innocuous. How about this weather is a good icebreaker. What do you do with your old needles? Not so much. Boy, the Oreos sure are looking strong this year. That's good. Is this the biggest bottle of acetone you have? Is probably best avoided. It's starting to look as if Richard Nixon was a pretty honest president. Hagerstown. Dude, just no. And finally from Hagerstown, if senior citizens get a call from somebody saying that they're going to change your Medicare card, it's a fraud. I called Medicare and they're not changing them. And they ask you for your bank account number. Don't give them your card number or your bank account number or anything. And can I just get your bank account number, please? Hello? Hello? God damn it. You owe me some money for that one, Hagerstown. I had that old bitch on the hook. Thanks for watching.